Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Division III National SAAC Mental and Physical Health #Thrive Together virtual town hall. My name is Dominic Petrozelli, a former soccer student athlete from Newman University, proudly representing the Atlantic East Conference, and I'm excited to be here as the chair of the Mental and Physical Health Subcommittee, working to support and uplift our Division III student athletes. I'll be one of your hosts for tonight.
Hi everyone, my name is Holly Hall. I'm a tennis student athlete from Alma College and I proudly represent the Michigan Intercollegiate Athletic Association. I'm also a member of the Mental and Physical Health Subcommittee and I serve as the vice chair. It's incredible to see so many of you joining us tonight for this important event. Together, we're creating a historic moment for Division III athletics as we dive into discussions on mental and physical health in ways we haven't done before.
So let's begin with introducing our amazing subcommittee members and presenters. Leading the way is the chair of Division III National SAAC, Lillian Case.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lillian. I am a former field hockey student athlete from Juniata College, and I proudly represent the Landmark Conference on National SAAC.
Hi, my name is Josie Johnson. I am a current cross-country and track and field student athlete at Capital University, and I proudly represent the Ohio Athletic Conference on D3 SAAC.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jacob Keller, and I'm a former men's soccer student athlete from the University of Wisconsin-Platteville, and I proudly represent the Wisconsin Intercollegiate Athletic Conference, and I'm the chair of D3 Download Subcommittee.
Hi, everyone. My name is Hassan Ahmad. I am a current men's basketball student athlete at the University of Mary Washington, and I proudly represent the Coast to Coast Conference. I'm also the co-chair for the Congressional Engagement Subcommittee.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nathan Wisman. I am a former men's basketball, men's volleyball student athlete from the University of Valley Forge, and I proudly represent the United East Conference.
Hi everyone, my name is Nate Perry. I am a volleyball and basketball student athlete at Denison University, and I proudly represent the North Coast Athletic Conference.
Hi everyone, my name is Shay McKenna. I'm a current baseball student athlete at McDaniel College, and I'm proudly representing the Centennial Conference.
Hi everyone, my name is Teddy Lockhart. I'm a former football student athlete at William Patterson University, proudly representing the New Jersey Athletic Conference.
Hi everyone, my name is Josh Rosa. I'm a current men's cross-country and track and field student athlete at SUNY Cortland, proudly representing the State University of New York Athletic Conference.
Hi everyone, my name is Nadia Simmons, and I am a former women's basketball student athlete at the University of North Carolina Wesleyan, and I proudly represent the USA South Conference.
Hi everyone, I'm Kimberly Lila. I'm a current swimmer at Berry College, and I proudly represent the Southern Athletic Association.
Hi, my name is Gavin Jones. I'm a former men's lacrosse student athlete at Westminster College, and I proudly represent the President's Athletic Conference.
Hey everyone, I'm Alfred Lamptey, a current men's student athlete at the University of Mount St. Vincent, and I currently proudly represent the Skyline Conference.
Liz, go ahead.
My name is Liz Carlton. I am a current rowing student athlete at the University of Rochester, and I proudly represent the Liberty League.
Hi, my name is Jack Bell. I'm a former student athlete, swimmer, diver, and soccer player at Luther College, and I proudly represent the American Rivers Conference.
And Amani, we'll bring it back to you.
Hi, sorry. My name is Imani Gonzalez. I am on the women's swimming and diving team at Baruch College, and I proudly represent the City University of New York Conference.
Thank you everyone for your SAAC intros, and thank you to everyone who played a role in making this event happen, especially our amazing subcommittee members and our amazing SAAC liaisons, Allie, Becca, Bryn, and Jonathan, who are here with us tonight. And another special shout out to NCAA postgraduate intern for governance and former D3 National SAAC rep, Grace Hadlick. And of course, thank you to all of you for attending tonight, whether you're a student athlete, a coach, administrator, or part of the Division III community. Your presence here is important as we work together to strengthen mental and physical health resources.
So before we dive in, we're going to get a little interactive for our virtual town hall tonight. So we would like everyone in the audience to be part of the fun. So please take a moment to scan the QR code on the screen or sign into mentimeter.com using the code provided. And this will connect you to our interactive PowerPoint where you'll be able to answer questions and engage throughout the session. So I'll give you 30 seconds to do that. I love the hearts. I love the reactions on here.
There's a lot of hearts.
And throughout the presentation, there will be this code at the top. So if you do end up getting signed out for some reason, you can use the code at the very top of your screen. So here's what the evening will look like. We just started off with a general introduction, and then we'll dive into our Division III National SAAC overviews, featuring our subcommittees. And then we'll hear a presentation from one of Division III's newest partners, Mental Health First Aid. And then we'll finally transition into a series of brief presentations by our SAAC members covering key topics on how to succeed as a Division III student athlete.
After tonight's presentation, you'll receive a document that includes key takeaways and also personal and group reflection questions to share with the members of your campus. This will be a great opportunity to spark conversation, reflect on what you've learned, and take the first steps towards meaningful action.
And so we're so excited to get started and grateful for this community that's come together to prioritize and uplift the mental and physical health of Division III student athletes. So let's make the most of our time here tonight.
Thank you, Dom and Holly, for that overview. Again, my name is Lillian Case. I'm a former field hockey student athlete at Juniata College, and I proudly represent the Landmark Conference. I also am the chair of Division III National SAAC, and I'm really excited for all of you to be with us tonight. Thank you for joining and for being a part of this incredible movement. Now, let's begin by hearing from our three subcommittees who will each provide an overview of their current work and share their plans moving forward. This gives you a little glimpse into what our SAAC is for.
Our mental and physical health subcommittee is dedicated to supporting student athletes by providing resources that promote both mental and physical well-being. As leaders, we're committed to educating, listening, and addressing key challenges faced by student athletes. Our goal is to foster a positive environment where everyone can thrive together, recognizing the unique pressures and needs that come with being a Division III student athlete.
If you've been following us on social media, you may have seen the initiatives we've shared leading up to tonight's event over the past 3 years. This includes our one-pagers, which can be found on the D3 SAAC page and on the NCAA website, educational graphics on mental and physical wellness, positive affirmation videos, and our mental health minutes. Tonight's virtual town hall is the highlight of the months of planning, which began back in July when we gathered for our summer meeting at the NCAA National Office in Indianapolis. We're thrilled to share it with you all tonight.
And so the Mental and Physical Health Subcommittee is just a small part of National SAAC. So I'm now going to pass it over to D3 Download and Jacob Keller.
Hi, everyone. Thank you again for joining us tonight. D3 Download is one of the SAAC subcommittees for the 2025-2026 SAAC year. Our mission as a subcommittee is to educate viewers by bringing awareness of Division III athletics through engaging and inviting social media content. D3 Download was created with the current generation's crave for quick information in mind. We post weekly videos educating listeners about the roles, responsibilities, goals, and outcomes of the National Student Athlete Advisory Committee through entertaining and educational videos. These videos cover a range of topics emphasizing Division III SAAC structure, unique college sports rules, emerging sports, and non-spotlight sports. Since D3 Download's inception in July, our videos have broken down what D3 SAAC is, Division III in general, the D3 legislative process, the new NPI ranking system, and our partnership with Special Olympics of North America. And on the sports sides, D3, we have given crash courses on football, field hockey, soccer, cross country, volleyball, swim and dive, and our most recent video that was posted today, water polo. Through these videos, we have reached over 17,000 viewers and contributed to the hundreds of new followers across D3 SAAC social medias. Next up, we'll show you a short video. But before I do, I encourage you all to follow D3 SAAC on Instagram at DIIISAAC.
First, who is D3 SAAC? As mandated by the NCAA, every member institution must have a campus SAAC. That means there are 426 campus SAACs in Division III. From there, every conference creates their own SAAC comprised of student athletes from their member institutions. Division III has 42 conferences, so there are 42 conference SAACs. Finally, for student athlete voices and experiences to travel from campuses to the NCAA itself, each conference is represented by one of their SAAC members on a D3 national SAAC. This structure is consistent for D1, D2, and D3. Our 42 conference reps are joined by 2 management council representatives and 1 student athlete who represents the independent institutions, and 4 NCAA staff liaisons. This group meets virtually in April and November, with our July meeting in person at the NCAA headquarters in Indianapolis, and for a week at convention in January, with location varying every year. We meet with big names like Charlie Baker, president of the NCAA, Louise McClary, vice president of the D3, Bill Reagan, managing director of D3, legal staff, divisional staff, and more to have conversations on topics related to the student-athlete experience and collegiate athletics overall. For example, we have discussed and voted on emerging sports like stunt and women's wrestling, sports betting, championship, qualification requirements, and more that directly impact the student-athletes we represent.
D3 SAAC can help to provide updated information to your conference and institutional SAACs too. If you don't know who your conference rep is, DM us, check online, or ask your conference commissioner. Or if you want to learn more about D3 SAAC structure, what we do at meetings and convention, and the timeline for proposing, discussing, and voting on legislation, tune into our newly developed subcommittee, D3 Download. D3 Download's mission is to educate and bring awareness of Division III athletics through engaging and inviting social media content covering a variety of topics related to SAAC and athletics. How does D3 Download fit into National SAAC structure? National SAAC members create subcommittees that align with what the group feels is necessary to prioritize for student athletes. For 2025 through 2026, our subcommittees are Mental and Physical Health, who focus on life after sport, Congressional Engagement, who advocate for student athletes to state officials and congressional members, and D3 Download, who use the power of social media to inform followers on D3 athletics. These subcommittees are focused on providing resources to all student athletes, coaches, and institutions in hopes of improving the college athletic experience. So be on the lookout for each of our subcommittees by following us on Instagram at D3SAAC.
Hi, everyone. The next and third committee for the Student Athletic Advisory Committee would be the Congressional Engagement Subcommittee. Our mission is to amplify the Division III voice through advocacy. Our subcommittee has been advocating in Congress in support of the SCORE Act through direct meetings with congressional staff and a letter writing campaign, as well as our one-pagers to kind of get the word out. The SCORE Act, backed by the NCAA, would standardize NIL, limit conflicting state laws, and safeguard student athletes' rights as students. Supporting the SCORE Act reflects what makes Division III unique. If you want to rep your school and make your voice heard in Congress, please email myself or my other co-chair, Sebastian Knowles.
Thank you so much to our 3 subcommittees for all of your hard work and dedication over the past 5 months. The progress and initiatives that you've shared tonight truly highlight the impact that student athlete leadership can have across Division III. And so as campus and conference SAACs, your role in continuing these conversations and implementing ideas like these on your own campuses is vital. Every event you organize, every discussion you start, and every resource you share helps to build a stronger, more supportive environment for all student athletes to thrive.
Now, as we continue to focus on ways to support one another and strengthen our communities, we're excited to introduce our next presentation. Joining us tonight is one of Division III's newest partners, Mental Health First Aid. This program empowers individuals to recognize and respond to signs of mental health challenges, helping create safer and more compassionate spaces in athletics and beyond. Please join us in welcoming Jennifer Cox as she shares more about their work and how you can get involved.
Thank you so much, Holly. And hello, everyone. Good evening. It is an absolute delight to be able to be here to share some information with you about this collaboration that has happened between the NCAA and the National Council for Mental Wellbeing. My name is Jennifer Cox, and I am the manager of our National Trainer Network for Mental Health First Aid USA. If you've ever heard of the National Council, I think that's fantastic. If you've ever heard of Mental Health First Aid, let us know by hearts or something up there if you happen to be a first aider. You are one of 4.5 million individuals that are certified and trained in mental health first aid. And now we are opening those doors and bringing in our higher education community, specifically our student athletic community, to be a part of this amazing movement that is happening across the United States. I am delighted to be here again and can't wait to tell you about what's available to your colleges, to your schools, and also to you, and then leave you with a few tips to take along for yourself. So while you're doing this amazing work and advocacy for students in every single one of the areas that you each are at, each school you're at, I want to give you some tips to be able to help yourself with your own mental well-being and to support the students and fellow athletes that are around you. So I mentioned the National Council on the next slide. We are actually a nonprofit. We are a membership organization that drives policy and social change on behalf of over 3,500 behavioral health and substance use recovery centers across the United States, which are in many of the communities where you all live or where your families are living. These organizations serve individuals, over 10 million children and adults and families, to support their health and well-being journeys and their recovery journeys. We also work to advocate at the federal level for funding and supports across the U.S. for mental health and recovery. And you can see just some of the data points that up there. I represent our public education program, Mental Health First Aid, and we actually have over 15, it's actually now 17,000 instructors in the United States. And I lead the team of national trainers. We have 77 of those that go out in our communities, in our college campuses, and in businesses all around the U.S. to teach people how to deliver this program that they then share in their communities, and they certify first aiders. I can't believe I get paid every day to do what I do, but I am absolutely delighted to be a part of this movement in the United States since it started in 2008, believe it or not. Now, the next slide is going to show literally about how this relationship happened between the NCAA and the National Council. The NCAA has been very focused and done a lot of data collection in regards to health and well-being on your campuses and the schools where each of you spend a lot of time. And they noticed, especially within the athletics programs and other programs, that there was a really big need for people to build confidence in attending to the stress and the anxiety and the things that come with this amazing period of collegiate involvement, but also the transition afterwards. And they were concerned, like, wait a minute, we may not be doing exactly what we need to do. How can we do it better? They reached out to the National Council and Mental Health First Aid in about March of this year and said, hey, would love to partner. Can you help us bring information and training to our head coaches, to our athletic trainers? And we said, absolutely. So we adjusted our higher education curriculum of mental health first aid to meet the needs of student athletics specifically, and the unique challenges that I'll show you here in a moment that are presented to our student athletes, and devised it or structured it in a way that's going to give the skills and the awareness and information to the coaches and athletic trainers to better support you, to better support all of the athletes in all of the sports, to be able to navigate their health and well-being in a way that is healthy, and to get people to the resources when they need them. So mental health first aid, I'll give you a little bit about it later, but just so you know what it is, I'm curious, I wish I could see all your faces, but most of you have been trained in CPR and first aid, right? And if you haven't, you will be probably with any job that you start as you move into adult life and careers. we're comfortable with dealing with physical health challenges, but we're not always as comfortable when it comes to mental health and well-being. And this program trains individuals just like we're trained in CPR of how to help if someone's bleeding or a sprained ankle or a crisis like a heart attack. This program that I get to lead for the United States, we do the same with mental health challenges. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that as we move through, about how we teach you how to recognize signs and symptoms, identify what's happening for someone, attempt to understand to the best of our capacity, and then to connect people or ourselves to those resources that can support that health and wellness. So in the next slide, to show you where we are at, what the goals are of this collaboration that's happening between the NCAA and mental health first aid. The intent, as you can see up there, is about student well-being. Top priority, how do we make sure we are comprehensively being responsive to your whole health? Not just your body and your physical, but your mental, social, emotional, intellectual, all of the domains of well-being. We are looking at this partnership. It is a 3-year partnership, so we're halfway through year 1. And again, it's mentioned for all Division III head coaches and athletic trainers. And by the way, we've also have a relationship with the Sports Science Institute that is now delivering trainings at all of their conferences. And I delightfully get to be at the FARA annual meeting Friday in Indianapolis as well. So I'll get to have a conversation with all of the D1, 2, and 3 school representatives. So if anybody you know from your college is going there, tell them to look me up and I can help them bring this to your campus. Who we've trained so far within this goal of getting 70% of the coaches and athletic trainer staff by the end or by September of 2028. We have made a tremendous impact just since the first trainings happened in July of this past summer. So on the next slide, you get to see what those numbers look like. That's so far as of November 3rd. These are our numbers. Dom, if you don't mind advancing for me. Thank you so much. So far of the 426 members of the D3, we have 109 institutions that have made a full and solid commitment, picking dates for this training to be delivered for free on your college campuses to your coaches and your athletic trainers. So far, we've had 55 institutions complete these certification trainings on campus, live and in person, where I send 2 of our subject matter experts with experience in athletics and collegiate athletics specifically. They deliver this training in person, and so far we have over 1,000 individuals on our college campuses in the D3 world certified as mental health first aiders, and that list is growing. Honestly, today I was asked if we had even more instructors because our schedule is so full between now and the end of the year, all the way through December. We need more instructors to make sure that we can meet the needs of what's happening. That is a beautiful situation to be in. So with this number of individuals being served, this many schools have made a commitment, I want to let you know why this is so very important. And I want to start with a question for you. And Tom's going to pull up a poll for us to do that you can do right there in your Menti. But I want to, just curious, this is anonymous. How confident do you right now in the state that you sit in feel about your own ability to support a peer who is struggling with a mental health or a substance use challenge? And once we get these numbers in, I'm going to show you what your staff and faculty and your coaches have responded to the same question with. All right, so 61% of us are feeling fairly confident. Only a small, less than 20% of us, though, are like, yeah, I got this. I know exactly what to do. And guess what? The rest of us who are like, I don't know, not sure. That's why we're here. For those of us that do feel confident to fine tune the skills for how we are responsive to people, and there's this action plan I'll show you in a minute that we teach. But for those of us who don't, we can give you that confidence. We can bring your skills up and your awareness and your literacy to be able to have that confidence to step in when someone is maybe developing a challenging situation or if they are in a mental health crisis. So that's why we're here. So you're not alone. And the fact of maybe feeling, yeah, I could do this, but having a little more skill can really help all of us along the way. So I want to show you the data that we collected from the adults in your lives and across campuses. So the next slide is going to give you a few little bubbles in regards to some data that has been served. So as you look at these, there's a couple that I want to stress for you. 1 in 3 U.S. adults age 18 to 25 have experienced a mental illness during the COVID pandemic. So that point in time was really difficult for so many of us. But what we learned was across the globe is that isolation, loneliness, and a shared trauma not only opened the doors for us to have greater communications, it helped us understand that we're not alone. And it's really opened the opportunity for conversations like you all have here today that I get to be a part of, and then other ones so that we can build the resilience and help our well-being across the board. But guess what? Your faculty, your staff, your coaches, they're feeling a little inadequate in regards to their skills. That bottom right corner says that over 80% of our coaches said they spend more time supporting student athlete mental health and that that's their top concern. But 50% of those coaches say they feel inadequately prepared. So here we are. This collaboration is being able to help prepare our coaches to do better for every single one of you and your fellow athletes. So after we look at that data, let's look at some of the challenge here quickly. The top issues that are reported that many of you might relate to, or it's going to give you a little picture into what some others, or you may be experiencing. The top issues, as you see on the next slide, are ones that maybe not be too unrealistic, but they're a very heavy load when we look at the things that are already happening, transitioning into school, looking at future, and by the way, our brains are still developing until we're 26 years old. So these are some very specific challenges, and if you see some of these that look familiar, I'm seeing some love pop up here on the slide. Add in the fact that we often are facing very unrealistic expectations from our coaches, from the fans in the stands, from our teammates, and maybe even from ourselves. This relentless pursuit of perfection can really take a toll on our well-being. And you're going to hear a conversation about this later with some of the other presentations that are going to happen today about that pressure triangle and the risk that imposes on our well-being. It's also going to look at how do we stay connected with each other or build a network around us that is a protective factor that can mitigate some of these risks and challenges that you see. So you're going to get a lot of this here together, but there's also so much more that we're going to be able to give you in these training sessions. So the next slide is, what does this work? What happens for our campus training? Well, number one, what we do know, what our evidence is showing us and the data we're collecting from engagement with you all within Division III, but also in higher education in general for the past, I think, 15 years, I know at least since I've been involved. But we do know that conversations like this and training like this does improve student mental health and resilience. We do know that it gives us the skills to address challenges before they become a crisis. And it's really important that we help each other build that confidence to talk about mental health and substance use in ways, like Holly said before, that we've never done before. And it's a beautiful opportunity that we each have. So here's my tips that I want to share with you. And you're actually going to get access to a PDF that has all this, or take a picture of the screen. I don't care, whatever works for you. But on the next slide, here are 7 tips that we have to support each other's mental health on campus. And by the way, it's helpful for you as well. So number one, let's create a supportive community, which the SAAC committee, you all are already doing, but we then can filter this out. 1 in 15. We believe in each one of us and our circle of 15 friends can have a positive impact on our health and well-being. So be a part of community. And if you see someone isolating, invite them in. Study groups, social activities, whatever. Emphasize balance between academics, extracurricular, and personal time. Remind ourselves to take breaks. That's going to promote our mental health and awareness. And by the way, the more we can normalize this conversation, the more we can decrease the stigma and let other people know that, you know what, if we're not okay, let's speak up and that you're not alone. And there are resources and supports out there. This happens with open and supportive communication, participation in ways that expand your knowledge, your understanding and skills. And please take some time for yourself and create a self-care plan so you know when things get maybe overwhelming or a little too much, how to take care of who you are in this moment and prioritize your well-being. And then in the role that you all play as a part of this amazing group is speak up and then seek help for you or someone else who may need supports. So if you help each other or you ask for help, that is strength, not weakness. Now, mental health first aid, to wrap this up, on the next slide, please, is a community education program. When you go through the courses and when your coaches and your athletic trainers go through the courses, they actually are certified as mental health first aiders for the next 3 years. And they have the opportunity to go through the course and bring the certification back to use with each and every single one of you and across our sports. Now, what do you learn in the course? What are your coaches and your athletic trainers going to learn? The next slide shows you. We have this 5-step action plan that is literally the process through which we say, have I done all that I can do for the person that I care about right now? To identify what's happening, understand the nuances or the ingredients of that, and then to connect them and be responsive to that which will serve them later. We teach you the signs and symptoms to look for, and we help you to know that when a crisis is happening, where to go, how to find the help, and who on your campus is going to be your best place to start, as well as what's available to you in the community. So with this navigating this action plan is something that is a skill that we teach you, we train you, we do scenarios, we do a lot of practice so that when you actually have to use it, you've already done it before and it becomes second nature. So with that in mind, here's your opportunity. Every single D3 campus is offered this free training. It's free, in person, with subject matter experts. The next slide, actually, Dom, sorry, I forgot to prompt you on that. But this opportunity is never happened before. Every single D3 campus this training is open to for free. We do a class of 30 individuals. Our national trainers will be there to guide the conversation and certify individuals. And this is something that can happen at any time between now and the end of 2028. Next slide shows a lot of the schools, the response to the engagement, the experience of being a part of the certification training. In every single class, people are at the end saying, I want more. What else is there? Please give us some more. And who can I tell to bring into this conversation? We are here to help you do that. So to wrap up, I want to make sure that you see this QR code here at the end of this. The relationship for the next 3 years we have with you all with the D3 programs, we are committed to making sure that we can come to any campus that has the interest. So if you feel like this is something that you'd like to be involved in, that you think your athletic staff could be a part of, scan the code, let your commissioners know, any faculty or staff representative that is there. If they're coming to FARA, tell them to look up Jen Friday afternoon, probably the last session, but Friday afternoon to talk to all the D1, 2, and 3 schools. But we are here to help you. So take this link, share it abroad, and we do know that we're going to be having spaces for you as SAAC members to be a part of those free trainings if you choose to be and they come to your campus. So thank you so much for the time. I'm so excited and inspired by the work that you all do and the presentations that are following me now, but it's been a delight to be here with you, and let me know if there's anything I can do for you in the future. We are here to help with the National Council. So thanks, everybody.
Wow. Thank you, Jen, for generously sharing your expertise and insights with us this evening. Your experience and the knowledge that you've imparted have greatly enhanced our understanding of mental health first aid. And we truly appreciate, the time that you spent being here with us tonight.
Now we're excited to move into our subcommittee presentations. Since July, our subcommittee members have been hard at work researching and preparing presentations on key topics centered around things like mental and physical health and how to succeed as a Division III student athlete, both on and off the field. Tonight, you'll hear 3 powerful presentations that reflect the diverse experiences and perspectives within our Division III community. We'll start with a look at our new Building Stronger SAACs tool designed to help you strengthen engagement and build momentum within your own SAAC on your campus or in your conference. Next, we'll move into our Staying Connected post-grad, which explores how student athletes can maintain balance, purpose, and community after graduation. And then finally, we'll close with Performance, Expectations, and Identity, a meaningful discussion about the pressures of competition and the importance of defining yourself beyond sport.
And so again, following tonight's virtual town hall, you'll receive a set of talking points from each presentation so that you can continue these conversations and bring new ideas back to your campus or conferences. So thank you again, Jen, and let's get started with our first presentation. So Liz, please take it away.
Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We're going to dive into practical strategies for growing, strengthening, and keeping student athletes engaged in your campus and conference SAACs. SAACs are vital for amplifying student athlete voices, shaping campus culture, and creating meaningful opportunities for leadership involvement. Today, we'll share tips and insights to help your campus SAAC or conference SAAC thrive. To start off, I'll turn it over to Alfred, who will walk us through how to establish a strong foundation.
Hey, thank you, Liz. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for being here. So Yeah, step one is all about just laying a strong foundation and getting your SAC off the ground the right way. First, you want to connect with your athletic director. Building that relationship early helps you understand their expectations for SAC and how they want student athletes to engage on campus. When you're aligned with them from the start, everything else becomes smoother. Secondly, you want to create a clear meeting plan, a semester or a year of schedule. Reserve your meeting spaces ahead of time. Meet consistently with your leaders. Consistency keeps everything and everyone engaged and moving in the right direction. And thirdly, you want to define roles and delegate tasks. Give reliable members responsibilities like communication, event planning, outreach, or campus projects. When everyone knows your roles, your SAC becomes more organized, confident, and effective. Again, thank you guys for being here. And yeah, next slide, please.
Thanks, Alfred. A strong SAC starts with a strong structure. So aim for 2 representatives from each team and use a clear, consistent agenda to keep meetings smooth and purposeful. It also helps to develop SAC bylaws, a simple set of expectations that guide how your group operates. These can include things like attendance requirements, minimum volunteering, or event participation hours, expectations for communication, and how elections or leadership transitions will work. Bylaws help everyone stay on the same page on what's expected and keep your group accountable throughout the year. Understanding your executive board roles is also just as important. The chair or president oversees the entire SAC, leads meetings, and acts as the main point of contact. The vice chair or vice president supports that chair by helping build agendas, assisting with events, and keeping operations running smoothly behind the scenes. The communications director or social media chair handles your visibility, creating graphics, managing social media, and keeping the broader campus engaged with your work. If your campus is looking to expand the board, you can also add roles like secretary, who takes and distributes meeting notes, and the community service chair, the role that focuses on finding ways for your SAC to serve the local community and strengthen partnerships with organizations like Special Olympics, which SAC has proudly supported for 15 years. Putting these structures and expectations in place helps create a more organized, effective, and sustainable SAC. And remember, your conference and national SAC members and representatives can always help you guide and support you through building your leadership structure. With that, I'll pass it on to Liz for understanding your role in SAC.
Thanks, Jack. At its core, SAC exists to advocate for student athletes and elevate their experience on campus. Your role is to identify the needs, challenges, and opportunities that affect student athletes every day and bring those conversations to the table. This can be anything from dining halls not being open when practices get out, to limited training room hours, to wanting more spirit, connection, and community at athletic events. SAC gives you a formal platform to speak up, collaborate, and drive change. It's your chance to work directly with your athletic administrators, people who genuinely want to hear from you, but may not always know what student athletes are experiencing unless you tell them. When you bring forward ideas, concerns, or feedback, you help create solutions that benefit every team, not just your own. Your role includes taking initiative. If you see an opportunity to enhance the student athlete experience, whether through new events, improved communication, better campus partnerships, or stronger support systems, SAC is the perfect place to turn those ideas into action. Ultimately, being part of SAC means being a leader, a voice, and a connector. You help shape the culture of athletics on your campus, build community, and ensure student athletes continue to feel supported, valued, and heard. I'll now hand things off to Amani, who will walk us through hosting events.
Hi, good evening. So step 4 is all about hosting events, which is my favorite thing to do on my campus SAC. So getting involved in your campus and local community is a really easy way to give back, build real connections, and show what our teams stand for beyond the competition. One way to do this is through community service projects. So this can be a food drive, wellness events, fundraisers, anything that makes sense for your campus or the community that you're a part of. The goal is to pick something meaningful and show up and have fun. You can also take advantage of the Division 3 week, which is April 6th through 12th, 2026. It's a great time to plan themed practices, do social media spotlights, or host appreciation moments that highlight what it means to be a D3 student athlete. Think about partnering across campus as another option. A lot of the best events happen when you collaborate, whether it's with clubs, organizations, or student life. Working together usually brings in more people and makes the event feel bigger and more connected. Overall, hosting events is a really great way to grow community, support your campus, and show the impact student athletes can have off of the field. I'm going to pass it back to Jack for step 5.
Lastly, step 5 is providing current and future resources for you guys as student athletes. So as student athletes, one of the most important parts of SAAC is developing you guys as leaders, not just for your teams, but for your future careers and personal growth. There are several excellent programs in the NCAA that provide resources designed to help you do just that. Firstly, the Division III Student Immersive Program. This all-expensive paid program during the NCAA convention gives you a behind-the-scenes look at Division III's governance, professional development through mentorship and disc training, and networking with leaders in college athletics. Secondly, we have the Career in Sports Forum. Connect with peers and athletic decision makers while learning career strategies, exploring roles in coaching and administration, and applying your personal strengths and professional opportunities. Next, we have Student Athlete Leadership Forum. Develops your leadership skills by clarifying values, understanding behavioral styles, discussing issues affecting student athletes, and growing personally and professionally. If you're looking for a bigger deal, NCAA Postgraduate Internship Program gains a year-long immersive experience at the NCAA National Office, including mentorship, professional development, and exposure to college athletics administration. And lastly, the CSC Student Program, a fully funded summer program for female and/or ethnic minority students to gain hands-on experience in Division III athletics communication and expand their professional network. Ultimately, these programs give student athletes opportunities to grow as leaders, gain professional experience, and build lasting connections that will benefit them during their college and beyond. With that, this is a perfect transition into our next presentation on staying connected post-grad.
Hello, everyone. Thank you to Liz, Alfred, Jack, and Amani for those great insights. Like they said, our next topic here is going to be staying connected post-grad. It's been very important for student athletes that are looking to transition to life after sport. So to get started, we have a question that we want to pose. How do you all stay in contact with others? It can be past teammates, past coaches, administrators. Just give me a few ideas of how you stay in touch, and we'll go from there. So I'll give you about like 30 seconds to answer that. Instagram, social media. Okay, so social media is a really big one, it seems like, which is great because that is one of our keys to success that we'll see on the next slide. Text, great. So yeah, social media is definitely a really big one. We have 3 quality keys to success here that can really help in staying connected with others. To start is quality outreach, checking in regularly with past teammates, past coaches. You know, regularly can vary depending on the person, but we like to say, you know, at least maybe once every 2 months, maybe 3 to 4 times a year. That is more than enough to stay connected. And also when you're reaching out to these people, make sure you're reaching out intentionally. So making sure that you have a topic or main goal of your discussion that you would like to have. This really helps give conversations direction. So you're not, you know, stuck wondering what to say, or if it'll help you avoid those like awkward moments of silence and all that stuff. So definitely going in prepared, knowing what to talk about definitely helps a lot. And also planning ahead is very helpful too. We're all going to be in different, you know, stages of our lives. We have some undergraduate students, graduate students. Some people might be entering the workforce sooner than others. So this is a really important step for sure to plan ahead, because when you plan ahead, you're more likely to get these conversations happening, get those calls in with the people that you're trying to connect with and all that stuff. So definitely scheduling stuff ahead of time is the way to go for this. And also finally, sharing visual recaps is another cool way to stay in touch. So you can share pictures of what's going on in your life. It'll help you paint a better picture of, you know, important updates, you know, how's school going, how's work going, all that stuff. Did you go on a trip recently? So all these things are really helpful when it comes time, you know, to leave sport and eventually transition. With that, I'll pass it off to Teddy, and he'll talk about social platforms.
Thank you. So when we talk about using our social platforms, right, the main thing is just being present. Staying active doesn't mean posting every day. It just means showing up enough so people know that, you know, what you have going on. When you share your updates and milestones, you're letting folks know how to follow your journey and see the growth in real time. But it's not only about talking about yourself. A big part of the social media is showing love to other people. Engage with their posts, celebrate their accomplishments, and acknowledge the work that they're doing also. That builds a real community, and it reminds people that you're tapped in and you care. And then recognizing life change is huge. If somebody graduates, gets a job, has a birthday, loses somebody, whatever it is, just acknowledging and strengthening that relationship will help you in the long run. Sometimes that little thing or little comment or little message would really impact how somebody's going to be feeling. So overall, using our platforms is just about connection. It's about supporting others, letting people support you, and keeping your network strong. I'm going to pass it over to Nadia.
Thanks, Teddy. The last highlight that we want to highlight is staying involved. This can consist of attending alumni events to catch up with former teammates. I know as a former women's basketball student athlete, I'm especially looking forward to attending the alumni game that my school will be hosting next year. So definitely be on the lookout for any emails or newsletters from your university. Another way to stay involved is by joining clubs or teams. This could entail joining recreational teams or even joining community teams that can continue to further a network. For example, find your local recreational department and get involved. Get back to playing your sport or try something new. And then finally, volunteering within your community. I know one of my favorite things my hometown does is a 5K, and they are always in need of volunteers to assist with passing out cups of water throughout the race. Definitely a way to catch up with others and stay connected. As a former women's basketball student athlete, volunteering within my community is one of my favorite things to do. To give back, you meet such amazing people, you learn a lot, and you stay involved with others. And with that, we'll pass it over to our next group to talk about the pressure triangle.
Thanks, Nadia. Today we're going to be talking about the pressure triangle. Pressure triangle has 3 expectations. We'll be going into that. First, we're going to be heading on to our Mentimeter. If you guys could fill this out, just see some of these answers. Have you ever felt like no matter how well you perform, it's never enough? Okay, got a lot of often, sometimes. Okay. All right, so often and sometimes seem like the big 2. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about. What is the pressure triangle? Pressure triangle is a model that shows 3 forces: performance, expectation, and identity, and how they react to create pressure. When one side grows too strong or weak, balance is lost. With this pressure triangle, we want you to visualize it as one side stretches, the whole shape changes. Feel free to write down and share the pressure triangle with others. Head over to the next slide. So first we want to talk about is performance. Performance is how we act, achieve, or produce results in a sport, academics, or in life. When pressure builds, when self-worth depends on an outcome. Examples of these are athletes performing under game day pressures or students aiming for perfect grades. Also, we want you to ask yourself, do you measure success only by your results? Now, I'm going to pass it off to Maeve.
So the second part of the pressure triangle that we wanted to highlight today was different expectations that can either be put on you by yourself, by your coaches, by teammates. And this can be defined as the standards or demands that we feel from ourselves or from others. And high and unclear expectations from both ourselves and others can create added stress and anxiety that we already have a lot of as student athletes. So some examples of this include high expectations from coaches, parents, or peers expecting success out of you, but it also includes self-imposed pressure to always improve. So if you want to quickly reflect before we go on to the third slide, whose expectations matter most, yours or others? And the last side of the pressure triangle that we wanted to highlight tonight was the idea of identity as a student athlete, or how we see ourselves and our self-worth, our self-values, all of that kind of thing. When identity depends too much on our performance, our pressure skyrockets, which obviously doesn't increase performance, which we all want the best performance out of ourselves as possible. So, some examples of this negative identity self talk value could include if I don't win, I'm a failure, my worth equals my stats, things along the line of this. So, we just wanted to remind you tonight that you are worth a lot more than your performance and that positive self-talk can help with this. So putting all these things together, having a good sense of performance increases your expectations. And when you have increased expectations, your identity also shifts as meeting your expectations can increase your identity and your self-worth. When we have positive identity, our performance often increases as confidence and positive self talk drives how we can perform on the court, the field, the pool, the pitch, whatever type of athletic field you're playing on. And when all of these things are balanced, they fuel growth and not stress as student athletes.
Alrighty, so now we're going to transition to talk about what it looks like when the triangle is unbalanced. And we're going to look at performance, expectations, and identity and what all of these look like. So first one is this. When we focus too much on performance, it can create burnout. I think it's really important that, yes, we want to focus on our performance. We want to always perform the best that we can do, but it can get to a point to where it is unhealthy, where you're focusing and hyperfixating too much on, oh, how am I doing every single game? Oh, what is my stats? What is all these things? And allowing that to, in a sense, rule our minds, which can then create that burnout. And at times when we allow that to happen, sometimes it happens and we don't even realize it until it really hits us. I know all of us too, we want to practice and we want to do as much as we can each and every day, but also keeping that in a healthy manner. We need to get the rest that we need to get. I know we care so much about performance, but let's look at it in a healthy way and let's look at, okay, how can I get better rather than beating it to the ground and trying to hyper fixate on it rather than allowing it to be a healthy each and every day kind of thing. The next is this. When we have too much focus on expectations, it can produce anxiety. I personally myself relate very much to this, and that I've dealt with anxiety. And it's important for us to have expectations for how we perform and all these kind of things, but we need those to be realistic. We don't want to, in a sense, set goals that are way too high that we know that are not technically tangible, but we want to be able to set expectations that are tangible, that we can achieve, that we can reach, so that we don't allow them to overtake us, allow them to just corrupt our minds and rule our minds to where the worry, the anxiety, oh, we gotta reach this, and this, but allowing those expectations to be something that we can reach and that we can get into so that they can be tangible for ourselves. The next thing is this, that too much focus on identity can lead to a fear of failure. I think something that's very important for us as athletes just to recognize is that we're never going to be perfect, that failure is something that we all face, but we can't allow ourselves to seek perfection because we can't be perfect, but understanding that when we do fail, that's an opportunity for us to grow. But also on top of that, that failure, the things that we may go through, that doesn't define who we are today. On the court field, whatever your athletic location is, whenever sport you play, however you perform or however the academics, the achievements that you get, all of these things, they don't define who you are and who you are off that court field, whatever that location is. So understanding that, we don't have anything to fear because truly at the end of the day, yes, sports are important. We care about it. We care about our achievements and the things that we want to do. But at the end of the day, they don't define us. So we can't let this fear rule our minds because it'll take away the joy and it'll take away the things that we love. So really focusing on, okay, who are we off of the court field, whatever your location is, and understanding that. So when we're looking at trying to create balance, we want to have resilience, motivation, and peace of mind, and allowing, when one side may get a little bit unbalanced, how can we reel that back in and keep that balance so we are resilient, so that we can be motivated in our sport. And so at the end of the day, our mind is at peace and we're like, okay, we're satisfied with who we are as a student athlete and that we're proud of that as well. So we can move on to the next slide. We have a question for you guys. And which side of the triangle pressures you the most? So feel free to take a few seconds to look at that. Again, we have performance, expectations, and identity. Expectations ruling. I can relate. I can relate to that. Yeah. So we got about half expectations, 1/4 performance, and then kind of 1/4 identity. Got it. Got it. So we can move on. And so on this slide here, we want to give you guys some practical strategies of what it looks like to maintain balance. First one is this, kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but setting those realistic self-driven goals. It's so important for us student athletes. We want to set those goals and we want to achieve those goals, and so that we can continue climbing and growing stronger in our sport as student athletes. But again, it's very important that we set realistic goals, that there's something that we know we can achieve, that we can, once we achieve it, we can set something else and continue to grow and grow and grow. If we allow ourselves to set goals that are out of reach, that truly are not tangible, that can cause us to spiral, that can cause us to get anxious, to worry, to set unrealistic expectations. So allowing ourselves to set goals that we can truly achieve and continue building and growing stronger and stronger from that is super important. Next thing is this, practicing mindfulness and reflection. When we look at this, there's the healthy way and the unhealthy way. Obviously, you want to do the healthy way, but we don't want to allow ourselves to be unhealthy in this and allowing ourselves to reflect in ways that beat us down, that push us down and can be negative towards us. It's important for us to reflect after every single performance. We should reflect and say, okay, how did I truly perform? What can I do and how can I improve? But we want to practice it in a healthy way. It's where it doesn't beat us down. It doesn't keep us in the past, but it's in a way that we can truly press forward and forget what lies behind, to continue striving to do the best that we can do. The next is this. We want to separate who we are from what we do, touching on identity again, like we did before. Ourselves as student athletes, we don't identify with our wins and losses, with our struggles and the joyous moments and all the things in our sport. Our identity is not in that. Now we're blessed and it's amazing that we're able to participate in this sport and do the things that we love. But off that court, field, wherever you're at, it truly does not identify who you are. You are who you are off that court, and that's what matters most. Not the performances, not the things that you're doing. What matters most is who truly you are off of that athletic field that you are on. The last thing is this, celebrating effort and not just outcomes. Something that I feel like coaches and just mentors in life have told me so much is one of the biggest things you can control is your effort. You can always control that. You might not be able to always control the outcomes, but you can always control your effort. And what matters most is that in our sport, that we do is that we play and we perform as hard as we can do. That we don't give up. We leave it all out there. We don't fall short. And celebrate that, because at the end of the day, you want to be able to walk away and say, okay, I gave it my all. I did everything I could do, and that's what matters most. Again, we can't always control outcomes, but truly understanding and embracing that we gave it all. We gave it all for ourselves on that court, for our team, and we did everything that we could do. So we want you guys to try this. Write one sentence about who you are beyond performance. And this could be something you do daily. This could be something you do weekly, monthly, even with your teammates too, but establishing and knowing who you truly are beyond whatever you're doing in your sport.
Now let's take a look at how the pressure triangle shows up in everyday life. In sports, this might look like staying confident even after a tough loss by reminding yourself that one game doesn't define you. In school, it's managing academic pressure, balancing that drive to succeed with the understanding that your grades aren't your identity. In your career, it's about avoiding burnout by focusing on growth instead of constantly chasing perfection or comparing yourself to others. So here's a simple challenge for this next week. Take just one step to rebalance your triangle. Maybe that means setting a boundary, taking a rest day, or reminding yourself that progress is more important than perfection. Here are 3 powerful reminders to carry with you. First, you're not your results. Performance matters, but doesn't define your worth as a person. Second, expectations can inspire or imprison. They can push you in a healthy way, or they can trap you if they become unrealistic or overwhelming. And third, performance thrives when identity feels safe. When you know who you are outside of wins and losses, you actually perform better because you're not operating out of fear. These reminders help keep all 3 sides of the triangle in check. So to wrap up the pressure triangle, it really comes down to balancing three things: performance, expectations, and identity. When these three things are in harmony, you feel grounded and strong. But when one side starts to take over, maybe expectations get too high or performance starts to slip, that's when pressure builds and things can feel heavy. The goal isn't perfection, it's awareness. When you can recognize which side is out of balance, you can make small adjustments that bring you back to a place of confidence and peace. Your triangle is your foundation. The stronger and more balanced it is, the more resilient you are in everything you do. Thank you for listening to our discussion on the pressure triangle. Now I'll pass it over to Dom to wrap things up.
Thank you to each of our subcommittee members for those outstanding presentations and for all the time, passion, and thought you've put into this work. Your commitment to advancing conversations around mental and physical health has provided all of us here with meaningful insights and practical strategies to take back to our own campuses and conferences.
And so as we close out tonight's virtual town hall, I want to extend my gratitude to everyone who joined and participated. Thank you all for being part of this event. Your presence and engagement have made tonight's discussion meaningful and impactful. We appreciate the time you've taken to join us, and we hope the insights shared tonight inspire you as you return back to your campuses and communities. Your commitment to fostering important conversations around mental and physical health is what drives these events forward. Thank you again for your time, and we look forward to seeing the positive difference you'll continue to make. Have a wonderful evening, go D3, and continue to build a culture where all student athletes can truly #thrive together. Good night.